Greg Poshman.
Here.
Rachel Richards. Alyssa Shank.
Here.
Colin Laird.
Here.
Brandy Copeland.
Here.
Steve Smith. Tom Fredstein. He's online.
Here. I'm here.
And I was going to ask for an approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion or a conversation?
Also moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not seeing any people online will just have to yell at me or wave, and maybe Nicole or somebody will see you. Maybe I will. Okay, all in favor? Aye, thank you. We're going to open it up to public comment. If there's anybody in the room who'd like to make a comment, we offer 3 minutes. I don't see anybody.
There's
Bring it
one
down
on
the doors, Greg.
There's one online, Brett.
We've got an online comment.
Yep. Kimberly L. I'm not sure.
Okay, Kimberly, please, we'll give you 3 minutes. Please identify yourself if you would, and go ahead.
Thank you all. My name is Kimberly Leitzinger. I am a resident of Silt, and I wanted to be here today first to thank you all for the hogback service and how important it has been for me, but also to ask for improvement in the service. So I am a resident who has been homebound because I've been searching for a medical diagnosis. And for about 10 years, I didn't have I still don't have a diagnosis, and I didn't qualify for disability because of that. And I needed to go to medical appointments all over. So I needed to get to Grand River, and then I also needed to get to Valley View. And from Silt, if I try and get up to Clement Springs, as you all know, if I have an appointment up there, I have to wait like most of the day to get back down to Silt on RFTA. And then the service to Rifle doesn't go to the hospital, obviously, at Grand River. And I have trouble walking. And so I had been wanting to ask for RFTA to consider. I know that Silt and Rifle are not really members, and that's due to multiple things, but they're also have less wealth in their communities. And I wanted to ask for RFTA to consider for them to be non-voting members so that they can actually be a part of the communications that happen with this board and at least be in the loop as far as what is happening. And then my second ask was for RFTA to consider other ways to help partner with those towns to help improve the transportation service in those areas. Just because these towns and cities don't have the financial wealth that others do doesn't mean that the residents don't deserve to have a good public transportation system to help us get to where we need to go. So thank you very much for listening to me. I really appreciate it.
Kimberly, thank you for joining us this morning and making that comment. Really appreciate it, and no doubt we will be discussing this at some point. I really appreciate it. I'm going to move on. Yes. Okay.
I just want to thank you for taking the time for your comment and encourage you to make a public comment to the Garfield County Commissioners as well, because they do contribute to RFTA at a small level. And at least right now, we've heard they're planning on cutting back for 2026. So please let them know how important it is to their residents in their community. Okay?
I already did that last month.
Okay, thank you. Well, stay on them. We appreciate it.
Thanks for staying on it. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, any other public comment online? I don't see anyone. Okay, we're going to close public comment. Ask for any additions to the agenda from Kurt.
There are no additions from staff.
Okay, great. I'm going to go to board member comment now, and I'm looking around the room. And Brandy, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I had a question. We are missing our bus shelters
in Newcastle since we got our new roundabout, and I don't know if y'all have one or can help us get one. I think Dave and Art have already asked, but I wanted to bring it up one more time. They also mentioned an MOU may be coming soon on discussing shelters in the towns and whose responsibility that is. And if that's coming, then we would just like to be on that committee.
Yes, we can do that. I believe they were removed when the roundabout construction was happening, and we just need to make sure they get back.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Moving around the table, let's keep Colin. Thank you. Have some for us.
I just wanted to give the board a quick update about the regional, West Mountain Regional Housing Coalition Good Deeds Program, where we are working in the entire region to buy down units and deed restrict them. So it helps our working professionals who don't qualify for our deed restricted units make more than 80% AMI to purchase housing in our very inflated housing market. So by the end of the year, we will have 19 deed restricted units under contract, and that includes folks who work for the city of Aspen, for Pickens County, for nonprofits, for the hospital, Valley View Hospital, for the school district. And RFTA is a member of the coalition, and I'd love, as part of our budget discussions, for RFTA to consider putting money in that Good Deeds program. For $3.2 million, we've deed restricted 19 units. We couldn't build a couple of units with that amount of money. And for contrast, Eagle County has been doing this for about 5 years. They have 180 units. So it's a very popular program, and it's very important for our professional working class to be able to buy homes in our community, and could be a very important tool for RFTA staff to make the next step from rental housing to purchasing housing in our region. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. That's been a fantastic plan. It doesn't grow us bigger, it just keeps housing affordable, and that's fantastic. Thank you. Alyssa, anything?
Yeah, well, 2 weeks ago, I got asked by the Aspen Middle School to come talk to a group of 2 classes of 8th graders who were interested in what we were doing with the Zero Fare and accessibility and mobility, and they're going to be doing a project on it. So I went and talked with them and talked to them about the strategic plan and all the information about Zero Fare and why we did it. And I encouraged them to come share with us what their final report is. So just wanted to let you know.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Something I look forward to.
Yeah.
It always makes boards nervous when 7th and 8th graders come and start pounding the table. I love it. Thank you. I'll go to Steve.
Thank you. Past week and a half, I've been riding the Rio Grande Trail between Clement Springs and Carbondale several times, and enjoy seeing the go-go goats. It's a very, very nifty, efficient means of maintaining that important corridor, and it's fun. So thanks.
Moving on, Rachel.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to hearing an early report on the fare free, what we're seeing so far. I'm sure we'll hear that later. And I'd just like to emphasize what we're all hearing at different levels in different communities about the bike safety with electric bikes, and the Rio Grande Trail, the Pickens County Trail, in town, everywhere. And I would love to brainstorm kind of how coordinated we can be with the Pickens County Rangers on the trail and others, City Parks Department. And, we work with the bike shops already. People are supposed to sign a release. They're supposed to understand the rules, but yet we keep hearing about collisions or near misses. And what really has struck me is we're now managing the Rio Grande Trail as both a commuting trail where people want speed and efficiency, and a leisure trail where people want safety and solitude, perhaps. So how we work through those issues is going to be an undertaking for all of us in the future. I mean, who was expecting electric bikes 10 years ago to take off like they have? And, there are real true, as you know, Greg, legitimate commuting purposes with it. So that's kind of the bigger issue I would like to bring forward for us to kind of tackle over time. And again, just thanks for all the hard work.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. If I can tag on to that. We did have a gentleman come and speak to us about
Sam Dennis, yeah.
About the possibilities of alternative, dedicated bikeways on frontage roads. And I'm still looking for, I know he's talked to RFTA people and, so hopefully we'll have a conversation about that at some point
But it is a
soon.
growing potential.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
sat down with Sam for about an hour and talked to him. And
Great.
in particular, he noticed that, if there was a corridor between El Jebel and Basalt, and it kind of, I said, talk to the Eagle County Open Space and Trails. Maybe they can help you with that, a little bit of alignment there. But how much traffic just in that one node it would cut off.
Right. Right. Yeah. So there may be low hanging fruit there that doesn't require us to build new roads or things like that. Thank you. I'm going to go online. Anybody online like to throw something out here? Board members,
this
that is.
David Knight. Can you guys hear
David.
me okay?
Hey, David. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. So I couldn't be there in person, traveling today, but just wanted to thank Colin for the comments about West Mountain Regional Housing Coalition, and echo the desire to see what we can do to contribute to that in a development neutral way to increase affordable housing. I think it's awesome. I know in Basalt we're looking for ways next year to including our lodging tax potentially to contribute to that more. So I think it's a great program, and I just want to make sure that we are considering that for funding. And that's my comment on that. Separately, I'm going to drop and rejoin because Teams is acting up. So Nicole, when you see me come back, if you could readmit me, I'm going to drop. I'm like I can't raise my hand or do anything like that in Teams, so I'm just going to try resetting.
Not a problem.
Thanks, David.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else online? Going. Okay, thank you. I had a couple comments. One, in the board packet, some fascinating charts, as always. But the one that really struck me this morning was the projected savings by taking RFTA chart. Thank you for producing that. It's pretty staggering that if you're commuting from Rifle to Aspen every day, you may be saving up to almost $20,000 in vehicle costs. It's worth drilling down on this, and I'm hoping that we can promote and broadcast this to the world, especially in the Valley. Really valuable information, and it might help people think about being single occupancy vehicle drivers. That was the first one. Second one, thank you for the report on the Core Green Expo. Our participation in that was great. Rachel and I were on panels. Steve was on a panel with us. Others, I'll probably leave somebody out. It was really, I thought it was really valuable. It was a motivational event, but there were groups there offering products and solutions. Thought it was pretty valuable, and I'm so grateful that RFTA participated. And then finally, I've been talking to the electric vehicle people who were there, and they're intrigued by the thought of trying to put demonstration vehicles here, electric shuttle buses, on some sort of affordable program, so that perhaps our first and last mile companies, perhaps some of our skier shuttles, short range shuttles might be able to take advantage of a very attractive offer to use an electric bus for a while to see if they'll actually work for us. So I'm intrigued by that, and I know Kurt's been talking to them, and I'll follow up and let you know if anything comes of it. But part of my overriding ambition to electrify more. Thank you.
I would say the city of has, I just saw it yesterday, one of those new electric Volkswagen bus type of
great.
vehicles, which looks
Oh,
really cool.
They have a buzz.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. All right, that was a lengthy board comment, but I really appreciate everybody having things to add today. So thanks for that. We'll get back to the main event. Where were we? Presentation and action items. We have resolution 2534, authorizing the lease purchase financing for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and improvement of a facility for employee housing as described in this. I'm reading the entire thing. Approving a site lease purchase agreement, related transaction documents to effect the financing, providing other matters in connection therewith. Michael Yang, please explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On So presentation agenda item summary 6.1 is in the board packet. It's on the screen. And let me make it bigger so I could see it too. So this is resolution 2025-34 and authorizing a lease purchase financing for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and improvement of a facility for employee housing. I'm really repeating what you just said, but I'd like to make sure that the folks understand staff's recommendation, and what we're asking the board today is to approve the parameters resolution 2025-34, which authorizes RFTA CEO and CFAO to execute the employee housing lease purchase agreement, the employee housing site lease, and other documents necessary to close this transaction, subject to approval as to form by RFTA's general counsel. Please note that this approval is contingent on the supplemental budget appropriation resolution for this year's rental payment, which is to be considered later in the meeting's agenda. Just as a background, and I know I've been trying to keep the board apprised to the progress on this through our CEO reports, but I'll just go through a background. On November 14th, 2022, RFTA purchased the Roadway Inn Motel in Glenwood Springs and constructed and made renovations for that property so that RFTA can convert that property for employee housing for RFTA employees. You know, we identified that property as the Iron Mountain Place, and that's what we call it. So, and it includes 42 studio units on that property. During this process, you know, RFTA preserved its ability to reimburse itself for up to $14 million using proceeds of a future lease purchase financing. And the board approved those resolutions back in October 22 and September 23. And the purpose of these funds is for RFTA to reimburse itself because we paid cash out of our fund balance, and we plan to reimburse ourselves with these proceeds. And we believe that by financing this project, you know, it will help RFTA spread out the costs over the useful life of the property, and also replenish some of our fund balance to be used for future capital needs.
Would you accept a motion?
As RAF, oh,
No, I mean, I'm sorry, but in plain language, this is the refinancing of the housing we already bought to get the money back in the pot.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the parameters, you know, it's just 12.975 million is the financing amount. Of cost of issuance are 215,000. Tax exempt rate is 4.93, and it's 20 years. And the estimated annual lease payment is just over $1 million. And so this is a parameters resolution. There are some aspects of this where if certain interest rate, the parameters is a not to exceed amount of 1.1 million for the annual lease, the annual debt service on this. And so as you indicated, this is more of a financing. So it might be straightforward to some, but it might be new for others. So that's why I'm just taking the time to just talk through it. And so we do recommend that the board approve this. And then later in the meeting, there'll be the supplemental budget for the 91,700 for the first payment this year. So I will stop there based on that.
Thanks for that intro. That's great. No, it's helpful. It helps me. Does anyone have a question, comment? Paul?
Yeah, the motion will be subject to approval of the supplemental resolution that is going to follow, because
Right.
there's kind of a chicken and egg issue.
But we get through this one first. I'm looking around.
Would you
Rachel.
accept a motion to approve resolution 25-34, subject to final approval of an appropriation later in the agenda?
I would accept that motion.
Second.
And have a second from Colin and then Steve. Okay, for the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Got through
Aye.
that. Good job. That was the quickest financial explanation and.
Everyone got it,
pass-
right, Rachel?
Yeah, very
We're
good.
good. Thank you.
Rachel's keeping us moving
Yes,
here.
yes, sir.
Back on schedule. Okay. All right, next. Okay, we have, well, we're going right to 6.2, 26 RAFTA objectives and key results review. On to that with Kurt. I love this stuff. Thank you. I just want to say I appreciate the use of the OKRs. It helps me a lot, and I think it helps get us through complicated things. I hope RAFTA appreciates it as well. And I've recommended it to Pitkin County for our next huge behavioral health initiative. So we'll see if they read the book.
Okay, I think we're ready to go here. So thanks for that, Mr. Chair. So RAFTA has incorporated a process of managing our annual work plan priorities through a process of objectives and key results, which you just touched on. So I just wanted today review the objectives and key results that we've identified for 2026. I believe, Colin, you brought this up at a previous meeting asking sort of where we were at with the work from our board summit that we had last spring. So this is what this is for 2026. We have 4 objective areas that we've identified from our strategic plan that are priorities for our 2026 work plan. The first objective is a roll forward from 2025 this year. We still have more work to do on this objective to complete the various key results that we had identified. So this first objective that's rolling forward for 26 is the Rio Grande Railroad Corridor, Rio Grande trails appropriately protected, utilized, and accessible to all users. We had identified 4 key results last year that are still in progress. The first being developing a formal plan to address encroachments and license agreements. This is something that we're actively working on with our railroad attorneys to identify the appropriate process for addressing these encroachments and license agreements. We'll definitely hopefully make progress here in 2026 in deploying that plan. The second key result was addressing all encroachments. One area that we will have more conversations with you all about is regarding the various types of encroachments. So historically, what we've presented to you as a board are encroachments that are within our covenant protected areas. There are additional encroachments that are beyond those covenant protected areas that we also want to start discussing with you all as a board so that you have a full picture of the various encroachments throughout the entire corridor. The third key result was implement a public and communication plan explaining RAFTA's efforts and the importance of protecting this corridor. This is a challenge that we run into routinely, particularly when there's turnover throughout the valley, that there's sort of a loss of understanding of what rail banking is, what the requirements of RAFTA as an organization are in terms of protecting this corridor in the state of being rail banked. So that's something that we want to ensure that not only the board, but the various jurisdictions that we interact with understand those requirements and why we're doing what we're doing. The fourth one is coordinating with jurisdictions on those rail banking initiatives so that when there are various projects that the jurisdictions have that might interact with the corridor, we can work with them to maintain our rail banking status and as well as ensuring that those jurisdictions can get their projects accomplished. So that's our first objective and key result for 2026. Our second one that we identified during the board retreat was objective 4.3 within our outcome area of financial sustainability. That was to preserve financial sustainability and develop and improve and maintain a balanced long-range budget and financial forecast. We identified 3 key results for 2026 for us to work on as staff. One thing that I will just mention in terms of how these objectives and key results work, the objective at my level is objective 4.3, which I just read. And then as it trickles down through the organization, the key results, so complete a capital improvement plan, that would be an objective for David Pesnicek and his team, and then that would trickle down throughout his work groups in terms of accomplishing that. So that's how these various key results and objectives are owned throughout the organization. The second one is complete departmental I missed the first one. The first one is complete a capital improvement plan by the end of Q2 of 2027. So one of the challenges that that Mike and his financial team have had in terms of creating a long-range budget and financial forecast is having an understanding of what our capital needs are going to be beyond 1 year or 2 year, being able to look out into the future and being able to see when those capital replacements or repairs will be needed within our over 300 million of assets within the organization. So having this capital improvement plan will be very critical in terms of our ability to produce long-range budgets and financial forecasts. Second one is completing a departmental 3-year plan by end of Q4 2026. This will allow our departments to be able to look out beyond just 1 year and give us, again, a better forecast of what our financial impacts will be for the organization. And the third one is completing a financial policy review by the end of Q4 2026. A lot of this is going to probably be focused on our fund balance policies for the organization to ensure that they're aligned with the current needs of the organization and that we have board buy-in on what those are. Our next objective was also within the outcome area of financial sustainability. It was 4.5, optimize RFTA services and expenditures for more efficiency and/or cost savings. We identified 4 key results for 2026. The first is an effort that's already underway, but will spill over into 2026, is implement the organizational-wide ERP system by the end of Q2 of 2026.
And ERP is?
I was just looking for them for an assist.
Thank you.
Enterprise Resource Planning. Our software is called Workday.
Okay.
That's the platform.
Oh, we all knew that.
Efficient resource planning. Thank you.
Enterprise resource, yeah.
Enterprise.
Yes. That's been a huge lift for the organization this year. We're all looking forward to that Q2 of 2026 where we can hopefully put this in our rearview mirror and be using the tool. The second key result is complete a RFTA master plan by end of Q2 2027. This is the planning effort that we're hoping to undertake starting in 26. We've referred to it as a transit development plan. We've recently felt that a master plan is probably a better description of what we're doing. This will be sort of the umbrella of a comprehensive plan for the organization, and then we'll ultimately eventually have sub-plans within that.
Just to confirm, the RFTA 2040 plan, which was supported by a tax initiative, that will be folded into the master plan as a component?
Yes, that was primarily capital focused, but that would definitely be focused in or rolled into this effort. It'll also have a process of just affirming what was within that plan.
Okay.
There's a few things that already are out of date that we need to
believe that.
review to see if those will continue forward.
Thank you.
The third key result is complete departmental efficiency audits and departmental budget audits by end of Q2 2026. This is, we feel that it's a good time for us to take a step back and just review everything that we're doing as an organization. Really at a sort of line by line assessment of all of our departmental expenses and programs. So that will be something we'll be looking to our department directors to complete by Q2 2026. And then our fourth key result is complete phase 6 and 8 of our Glenwood Springs maintenance facility expansion by Q4 2028, but it will be starting in likely could start as early as April of 2026 in terms of breaking ground. So that's the big grant that we just got released from the Office of the Secretary of Transportation, the $32.8 million. So that effort will be starting here in spring of 2026, and it will likely be complete by Q4 of 2028. So our last objective that was identified during our board retreat was environmental sustainability outcome. The objective was 6.3. RFTA will prioritize energy efficient strategies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and advance projects that enhance existing services with a responsible budget. This is again is a roll forward. This was a objective and key results for 2025. This is still in progress, so we're continuing it forward into 2026. The key results that had been identified were energy efficient strategy. One was this is where our fare free pilot that we're in the process of providing to our customers right now came from. This was one of our key results. So in 26, we'll be analyzing the fare free pilot and making recommendations for any future reduced fares or fare free periods following this pilot. We're continuously measure and monitor energy efficiency across our operations. The third one was collaborate with IMM, which is our property manager for our employee housing projects, to collaborate with them on employee placement so that we're not creating unnecessary trips, long distance trips based on where we've placed them and where they have to work to start their shifts. Our second key result was reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So we are expecting to take delivery of the 10 new battery electric buses that we ordered in 2025. We should take delivery of those Q2 of 2026. We also plan to begin electrifying the non-revenue vehicle fleet. So these are our vehicles that we use for our supervisors, for just our general motor pool vehicles. And then plan and initiate the RFTA Mobility Hub in West Glenwood Transit Center by Q4 of 2025. This is part of that phase 6 and 8 construction that'll start in the spring. This is the transit center portion of that project that will be at the current West Glenwood Park and Ride location. So that one, we probably need to update that one because that's saying plan and initiate. This would be beginning construction, so of Q2 of 2026. So that is our planned objectives and key results for our 2026 work plan.
If I could, I know, or at least I'm regarding measuring and monitoring energy efficiency across operations, including the built environment, the garages and, facilities. And I think CLEAR and CORE hopefully can play a role in that.
Yes, for sure.
Right. Yeah, which is very exciting. We'll learn more about that. And I just wanted to throw out a plug for the non-revenue electric vehicle fleets. Pickens County just took delivery on some of those new big Chevy, trucks for our open space and trails, and they're taking them everywhere in the high country. They have about 400 miles range. They're really, they can power a building. It's an amazing vehicle. And I don't know what RFTA is looking for, but there's a lot of great options out there and a lot of great incentives remaining incentives to buy them. So thanks for the report on that. Any other comments or questions? Steve?
Thank you. A handful, reaching back to the Rio Grande Trail corridor, and your mention of working with jurisdictions to preserve the rail banked corridor in light of their projects. Can you give us some examples? And is Southbridge one of them?
I think Southbridge is definitely a project from a local jurisdiction that interacts with the Rio Grande corridor. We've been working closely with staff to develop an IGA, which you all may be seeing soon, and I think we'll be bringing before the board here in a month or two for approval too. I think one of the challenges with our management of the corridor, and probably the biggest challenge we have, is that in the rail banked status, we have to preserve the corridor's ability to operate freight rail in the future. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, of why we're requiring design requirements for freight rail when nobody believes we'll probably ever see freight rail in this corridor. We may have passenger rail, but maybe not freight rail. And when there's turnover and there's new people in, there's a process of just bringing folks up to speed and understanding why we're having to maintain those types of requirements. It's not us just trying to be mean or difficult, that there's specific requirements for us to maintain that rail bank status.
Great. And I guess that's very helpful background, some I didn't realize. Kind of the punchline question is, as you do those continued workings on an IGA relative to that Southbridge project, do you have a sense that this is going to work and for both parties, and that is for the trail and for a bridge crossing?
Yes, I believe we're in agreement with the current IGA. The attorneys at this point are just kind of doing the fine tuning of the language of that, but the design itself works for RFTA. One of the newer findings, I don't know if Paul, you want to speak to this, but it's sort of the impossibility language of the current design might not necessarily allow for freight rail, but it can be removed and modified to where freight rail can still be constructed. So that's sort of the new standard in terms of how we're approaching these types of agreements and IGAs, that if we were to have to bring freight rail in that section, say where Southbridge would be crossing, there'd be requirements for the city to have to accommodate that. So I don't know, Paul, if you want to speak more to that.
Basically, we don't want to lose the corridor. And as Kurt was mentioning, it has to be maintained as a freight railroad. And when we get into these situations where we have infrastructure, and we've had a couple of them by way of example, 8th Street is an example.
In Glenwood.
That if there's a challenge to the corridor based on a severance or the fact that it can't be used for freight rail, then we try to employ workarounds that the corridor will be restored or discontinued in that area, so that the risk is shared equally between the municipality and RFTA, with the objective, the primary objective of maintaining the corridor.
That's very helpful background. Do you perhaps mean 7th Street in your example?
Did I say I said 8th Street, but
So there's nothing new on 8th Street.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, great, thanks.
And Paul, if you could just elaborate for a second longer, if the corridor was found to be abandoned at one point and not able to fulfill, the terms of its original granting, since the railroad had abandoned it, it's my understanding that the property of the corridor would just go to the property owners on either side.
right, there was
So you lose the whole corridor up and down the valley. From one infraction.
A Supreme Court case about 5 years ago determined that in effect it's an easement. If it's abandoned as a railroad, then the property owners adjacent to the railroad will enjoy the property to the center line.
Yeah.
Of their respective properties. So then we lose it altogether.
Yeah. And so there's maybe some parties where a little extra yard would make it worth pursuing claims of abandonment.
Well, correct. And that is what Kurt was also saying. You know, we're sensitive to encroachments and people attempting to make a claim against what is in effect public property. So a private property owner can't make a claim of inverse condemnation, for example. But it's very important to maintain the corridor as a freight rail fictionally. And also, we take for granted, you might not be aware, but these covenant areas are specially restricted areas because we have to receive funding from GOCO, which requires that certain areas be maintained in a pristine state. So that's another requirement that we are always dealing with because we don't want to violate those pristine areas.
Thank you all three for that clarification and that historical reminder.
And you might, what we did about 5 years ago in the corridor control plan, we recited about 2 or 3 pages of history. So if you go on the website, you can see some of the history that substantiates the basis for RFTA taking the position that it takes with regard to encroachments, the possibility of abandonment, you know, the requirements that we have to go through with the federal government, the Surface Transportation Board, for example, that regulates railroads. So that would be a good resource for the history. And it's complicated, so it's not easily understood.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And I guess that circles around to a new question or kind of corollary question. As you've heard, you said that you're feeling comfortable with the progress toward an IGA on that particular crossing. You get the sense that Glenwood Springs gets it, that that might have to be redone someday, or that that's not going to come as a surprise for anybody?
I think they get it. I think there's probably a shared understanding along the whole valley that the need to have to do that for freight rail is probably pretty low, that would be something that would occur. But I think there is an understanding that if we were required to implement freight rail, those changes would have to occur to those crossings to facilitate that.
That's helpful. I'm sensitive to it because, as you may know, the city is in cooperation with Federal Highway Administration and Colorado Department of Transportation, revising the several details of design on that project.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the time to do design changes. The design changes that the city is doing so far are cost savings.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a cost increase, but if everybody's comfortable postponing that possibility of a cost increase, great.
Yeah, and we've been very sensitive to the challenges that Glenwood has had on the South Bridge project and not wanting to create any unnecessary added expenses to the project, that you're trying to find ways to reduce the cost of that effort. So we feel that the solutions and the design that that the city's landed on and what we've agreed to and we've incorporated into the IGA would meet RFTA's requirements for that crossing of the corridor.
Good. And that reminds me, sorry.
Go ahead, please go.
Yeah, that reminds me of one more question that Ralph would want me to ask. Is the design as it's now emerging with our cost saving additions preserve an opportunity for future RFTA facilities, a park and ride, for example?
I can't speak so much to the park and ride, but the more likely scenario of RFTA using that section of corridor would be for a bus lane for the bus to operate on. And we do feel that the current design would allow for that. I don't know, David, if you want to speak a little bit to how that design, putting them on the spot here.
And I'm
A
putting
lot
you
of
all
the
on
issue
spot
is
by
where,
bringing this up at the last minute, but we're in the thick of this, so at home. So I just wanted to be sure.
right. So the primary issue was the height of the box for
Right.
the trail. And ensuring that it was at a grade that didn't, so if the grade has to go up too high and the trail is coming across at this level, if that grade to go up over the box is too steep, a freight rail train can't facilitate that. And currently it can't. So if we were to operate freight rail, that would have to be lowered so that the train can cross over that box of the trail or of the road. So right now, the bus, though, could do that. So if we were to provide a guideway for a bus to operate on, it should be able to navigate that current design.
Would a passenger rail be able to shape that design?
I can't answer that right now. We'd have to likely talk to our engineers.
Okay, thank you. If I may, another topic
Please,
in
go
this
ahead.
very helpful summary of
this is
planning
our-
processes. Under the capital improvement plan or capital projects plan, and combined with the fact that you mentioned elsewhere in this report, the purchase of some new electric buses and electric administrative vehicles. Not quite sure where in the spinning spokes to ask this question, but Glenwood Springs enjoys with other communities a first and last mile grant, which is being used for our microtransit service and basically a dial-a-ride service. When we put that into place, I ask in the context of the city's own climate action plan why these vans aren't electric. The response was the contractor didn't know how to do that. And we had already committed to a contractor. Is there an opportunity here somewhere on first and last mile programs in general and ours in particular to hand over used vehicles eventually, to offer shared purchase contracts, to do something to facilitate the electrification of even our shuttle buses?
Yes, I think that those opportunities exist. There's a number of different models of how future contracts can be structured to whether it's vehicles provided by contractor or vehicles provided by the owner, say Glenwood Springs or any of the jurisdictions. There's a number of different ways that you can structure those contracts to where you could get the vehicle that you want. I think the challenge probably with the current situation is that there wasn't time to make that change in that process. But going forward for a future contract, I think there definitely be an opportunity that you could do that.
Dean, you're on the bell. I realized after the fact that nobody had thought of that soon enough. And so, thinking ahead, like on future first and last grants or otherwise, but very helpful. Thank you. I think that's all. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody. Clearly there's, let me tee this up.
Okay.
The communications plan regarding the importance of protecting the corridor obviously is essential, and looking forward to seeing how that develops with communications, because I've seen in the press and online people expressing their fears about what does this rail banking mean. So you guys are on top of that, I think, and it's the timing is right. And there are others. Rachel, did you have something, or was there something?
Yeah, I did want to make a comment. Looking at some of the later projects, and I appreciate planning further out, but to read phase 6 and 8 by the fourth quarter of 2028, it takes a little imagination. I'm just hoping that we could have some interim reports on those sort of topics as they're developing, and that's kind of all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yes.
And one last thing to your comments. I do believe that Glenwood Springs and everyone else really benefits from having the trail as an amenity, as a tourist attraction, as all these things, and everyone is really trying to work together on all those components. So I appreciate the comments, but I want to say we all benefit from that corridor in a huge way. And appreciate your work trying to secure it 25 years ago. Thank you.
Great.
It's a process.
It's a process.
Yes, and we, on a monthly basis in the CEO report, we do report on the progress of the OKRs. We're actually going to a new system here soon that will provide more granularity of that progress throughout the year. So for those ones that are finishing in 2028, they're in here because they start in 26. And we can provide annual milestones of what we'd like to accomplish by the end of 26 and 27.
I mean, for me personally, I thought this financial planning has got to be so tentative at a certain level because of the federal grants and what's happening with Federal Transit Administration and so on and so forth. So appreciate the work going into it.
Great.
Great. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to move us on. We have got a Reso 2535, 2025 supplemental budget appropriations. Paul Hamilton in the house on deck. Come on down. Mike Yang, assisted by Mike Yang.
Good morning is, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And good morning to all. I'm here to present Resolution 2025-35, which is a 2025 supplemental budget resolution. This is based on our ongoing review where we need to true up the 2025 budget based on our current projections and updated information. There are 6 items included in this resolution. I'm happy to go into detail on the any of the 6 items, but I will just touch on number 1 because that's probably the largest item in this resolution, which Michael talked about this morning. So we are including that budget, the Iron Mountain Place refinancing in this resolution. So I did want to touch on the net effect of these 6 items. It is increasing our fund balance by that $14,386,000, which is listed on, I'm sorry, I didn't have my page number. So, which is included on page 2 of the agenda information summary. So maybe I'll stop there, see if there are any questions, or if I can go into more detail, I'm happy to do so on any of these items.
Great, thank you. I'm going to look around Rachel first, and then did somebody else have a hand up? I didn't see if you did.
Thank you. I guess the only one I had some questions or concerns on was item number 3, the Burlingame employee housing lease. You know, I understand RFTA has new housing and the comment is we do not believe we'll need that. I guess 2 things. I'm kind of wondering, A, I've got to talk about my own city about our leasing policy, but I didn't realize that a company who had leases could sublease to others and that they wouldn't just go to the general public to potentially lease out this winter, or that it wouldn't be offered to others other than the one partner you found to transfer that lease to. And I really kind of question whether, given the fare free experiment to see how much more capacity we could add, whether RFTA might end up needing more drivers this winter and needing a place to put them. And so my concern has been, maybe we're letting go of an asset that RFTA has and might need in future years. But I mean, I literally have to say, as an Aspen elected and knowing how many employers want these housing units in the winter, I can't imagine that you should be able to continue that lease next year after you didn't use it this year. And so I'm just checking into that from the city side of things. But I wanted to mention that concern because it just seems like, well, housing at any level is a real asset for every organization. And to say we don't need this anymore, and you might need it in a year or 2. And I'm not sure to be available then.
I can add a little clarity to our Burlingame units. So we have 4 year-round units, and those units we continue to use. Those are very valuable to us. We then have an additional 10 seasonal units, which are only available to us for the winter. And that has historically been problematic for us because we're hiring our employees. We don't hire seasonals anymore.
Right.
We hire year rounds. So when we place them in one of those seasonal units, we're then playing a musical chair game with them of having to then relocate them at the end of the season when those units go to the music school. So those 10 are the ones that were
Seasonal.
that are seasonal that we're allowing Burlingame, and Burlingame facilitates the subleasing. So they find the community partner
Okay,
to offer those to.
okay.
But we do still retain the 4 year-round units.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that detail. You know, naturally, it made me think about our city routes and how close the drivers would be as opposed to Glenwood Springs to come up to drive 40 miles away. But perhaps you have housing locally for the local drivers?
We have Carbondale is probably the next closest.
Thank you.
Rachel, anybody else want to call up? Anything else here on this? We talked about item number 1. I think we're comfortable with that. The zero fare pilot project, looking forward to seeing how that turns out, but we know what that's about. Burlingame investment income, congratulations. It seems like things are doing well over there, wherever you've invested that. Regional bike share, is there anything you need to, any elaboration on WeCycle? I'm always eager to hear progress and how things are going, if there's anything you can add to that. But if not, that's okay.
This item is similar to what we've done in prior years. So we're just advancing. It's in. We're treating this as a prepaid item, so this will come back. So I think it's a timing issue.
Got it. Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you. Wingo Bridge retaining wall, and Steve, go ahead.
I know you're doing your summary. Go right ahead.
Yeah, just that's the final one. Everything okay there? On track, on budget? What we anticipate things are going to cost?
This is a new budget item, and I will, from my end, I'll highlight that there have been projects in the past where we have updated. I think it's mentioned in the Cypress Creek Bridge and the Wingo Bridge. And those are prior projects where we've worked in conjunction with Pitkin County to fund the projects. So this one's kind of a reverse item where we're funding half the proceeds for the project.
And just to clarify, we're making sure that in order to move forward with these initiatives, we need to have that budget in place that wasn't included in the original. So as for the project, so in order, for example, like the regional bike share, to keep it on time from the lead times, placing the order and getting them in time for next season, that's why it's important the vendor requires like a 50% deposit. So that's what that regional bike share item was. That Wingo Bridge project, it is just getting those funds in place so that while our staff works with Pitkin County staff, that they meet their time schedules. As for how it's going, I think that's the part that we're unable to talk about project management of those right
It's open
now.
space.
Yeah, I think
I
you want
can
to
share
add
just a little.
Yeah.
Regarding the Wingo Bridge project, that was an unplanned project. It's an emergency repair needed on that wing wall that's failing. So Pitkin County maintains that section of the corridor and the bridge, but we've had a historical relationship where we share the costs on those repairs. So that's what that one is for.
Right, thanks. And they're factoring in construction cost inflation and all those things that always scare us when we see the final tally. You
Yep.
guys are
Yes.
prepared for that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and just you were trying to read the room. We felt like there's a sense of urgency, so we didn't want to take too much time walking through what's already written, but we do have the ability to walk through what's written. I just wanted to mention that we were the approach on this agenda item. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate the summary, and I'm no more questions from me. It looks like the board they're all sitting on their hands. Oh, Steve.
Maybe just a translation for for my better understanding. Item number one, we're excited about that project at Iron Mountain progressing to an actual purchase, just that much more commitment to a good facility. I noted in reading the background materials, a 55,000 decrease in transit expenditures, which seems to correspond in the narrative to offset delivery date expenses. What does all that mean?
Sorry.
For the cycle, I think.
So as it relates to delivery date expenses, what happens is when we close the deal, we have to pay the cost of issuance for for attorneys and just any closing costs as for that. I believe the finance team identified a $55,000, $55 in our operating budget that was listed under transit to repurpose for a portion of that. So that's more of a mechanical description of, so that 55,000 is being repurposed as debt service, and those costs of issuance are included as debt service
Okay,
in addition to the monthly
that helps a lot. The
payment.
word transit in there is what threw me, but it's really about
Yes, sir.
administrative financing.
Right, we're just using some of that existing budget to offset some of the cost of issuance. It was labeled transit, we're repurposing it as debt service.
Thanks, that's very helpful, and thanks for that project. It's an exciting example of taking care of employees, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm going to open it up. It's a public hearing. So I want to open the public hearing to anybody in the room or online. Raise your hand or identify yourself and wave somehow, and we'll, I don't see anybody in the room today, and I don't.
So many people online.
There's so many people waving at us. I can't even tell, who do we pick first? Okay, that's an indicator that we're communicating effectively and people are happy, right? We hope so. Okay, then I would look for a motion, bringing it back to the board.
I'd make a motion for the board to adopt resolution 2025-35 to the 2025 supplemental budget appropriation.
Thanks, Colin. Second from Alyssa for the discussion. Seeing none, all in favor.
Greg,
Oh,
roll call.
we have to do a roll call. See, I forget which
reminded
board
you.
I'm on. Where am I? Am I doing okay? Thank you. I know we're staying on time even with all this chatter.
Greg Boschman,
I'm here.
Alyssa Shank,
Here.
Rachel Richards.
Wait, hi.
Yeah, they're both
I
yes.
got
Come on,
you.
Alyssa.
He did.
Yeah.
You're both yeses, aren't you? Okay.
Rachel Richards.
Yes.
I think it's in the
Colin
And
Blair.
up here.
British style of here, here.
Here, thank you. Steve, just elaborate.
Steve Smith,
Bailed me out.
Aye.
Aye.
Brandy Copeland, and David Knight.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got through that. Thank you. Okay, Paul, thanks for that. And Dave, Mike, everyone. Kurt, on deck with the CEO report.
Yes, I have a team of helpers here to report out on that, and I'll go ahead and let, I think, Mike, you have the first item.
Thanks, Kurt. As just as a background, RFTA, as a local government, has issued bonds to finance capital projects and to finance our share of capital projects. And every time we issue bonds, we do get them rated. And as it relates to our last bond issuance was the Series 2021A property tax revenue bonds. And this S&P Global is the entity that rates those bonds. And every year they do a surveillance review of that, which includes a questionnaire and also examines our most recent financials, so our current year to date and also prior years. And they also, and as a result of that effort, they reaffirmed its RFTA's AA+ rating, and also affirms and maintains the stable outlook for RAFTA. And there's a link to the report that you could access that. It's a helpful report that you could just see, get a sense of what all the different aspects they look at from RAFTA as an organization and enterprise. So that was just one thing we just wanted to make sure the board was aware of. And I think that's it. That's my update on that.
Okay, we now have, unless there's questions on that, we have an update on our response to the bikes on buses that we heard at public comment last month.
Yeah, so regarding the bikes on buses, as you recall from the September meeting, we did have a gentleman come expressing concerns about our policies regarding time of day loading and seasonal restrictions for bicycles on buses. At the time, Kurt did provide a short overview as to why we do have those restrictions, and they are primarily based around safety. When you look at our corridor, particularly relative to other systems and agencies that are in more urban settings that are operating at lower speeds, oftentimes with better cleared roads and with the benefit of greater lighting, urban lighting, they're able to accommodate bikes on buses more throughout the day through dark seasons and more inclement weather than we are able to in order to ensure safety of our passengers and the traveling public. So that's the reason why they're in place. We are traveling at very high speeds in rural settings. That said, we do regularly review our policies and look back to see if there's any way that we can, are we balanced appropriately? Are we calibrated appropriately to be ensuring that we're providing the greatest amount of access to our customers while ensuring safety? Clearly, safety is number one, and we need to make sure that our traveling public is safe, both inside and outside the buses. So we do believe that there are some adjustments that we can make that we're going to start reviewing, and we'll be discussing those with you here over the next few months as we're able to get into those. But I want to let you know that we do continue to review those policies and that safety does continue to be number one. We do have some buses that can accommodate these bicycles better than others. So there might be some factors there that we're able to look at.
David, I just want to toss in, I rode the bus down and then we cycled here to the meeting this morning. It was wonderful as usual. As I was coming down, I saw, as I got off in Carbondale, there was a guy putting his e-bike on the front of the bus. So clearly it's a commuter solution for people, and it's nice that we can make it available. I did want to say that, I always, whenever we talk about bicycle transportation, I look to Holland, the Dutch Cycling Embassy, as it's called, and if you look up bicycles on buses in the Netherlands, it's surprising to find out that you cannot take a regular bicycle on most popular public buses in the Netherlands. You can bring a compact folding bike if it will fit on. And trains take them in some cases, but they expect you to take their versions of WeCycle, get a bike at your destination. And we have WeCycle as a phenomenal solution. So it's great that we can accommodate the people who need to bring a bike. But I think it's kind of a pretty small percentage at this point, but I'm glad you're paying attention, and that if we can be nimble as commuters move forward, we can still serve that portion of the public. And Rachel had her hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the update. It does seem that in the summer, when the sun doesn't set till 9, maybe we have a little more flexibility with people for the lighting issue. And I don't know if it's something that when we're ordering new buses in the future, there are different options for lighting design on those buses, that we might at least look into that. It may not be the case, or maybe you can order extra headlights, above where the bike rack would be. I just don't know, but it would be nice to take a look at that. Similar to Greg, I don't think it's going to be the lion's share of any of our users ever, but I do think it could be a percentage that matters. And it is interesting as you tied in the WeCycle to talk about how do we coordinate with WeCycle? Because if people are getting, say, to the Brush Creek Intercept lot, and then they're going to pick up an electric bike, do we have enough electric bikes at these locations for what sort of capacity we would need? But I would really love to continue, as you are, exploring opportunities for bike commuters, whether it's getting more of a 12-passenger van that can haul a trailer behind it, like we see at all the camping sites where they have, you know, a big, or the tour companies, which bring up a dozen bikes at a time with a dozen passengers. I don't know, but I'd love to continue to look at the opportunities. So I appreciate the efforts on that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Steve?
Thank you. Basically ditto to all of what Rachel just said. I appreciate, David, that you're looking at some potential modifications or accommodations of some sort. That the idea of snowplow style eyebrow headlights that Rachel just mentioned maybe is one. Some of the buses have cargo bays underneath, which in places like Denver are used for bicycles. So but I'll wait for you to come with the innovations. Glenwood Springs in particular, this is a concern because we do not have WeCycle, at least not yet. And so some of our folks really do load up the bike racks at the stations, especially 27th Street station, but some want to take their bike with them and then come home after work or whatever. So for us, this is a little bit more of acute circumstance since we don't have a bike share yet. So I'll look forward to your innovations. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, WeCycle hasn't spread throughout the entire valley yet, but thanks for that. Okay, is that anything else, David?
Let's see if there's any other questions from you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So moving on
To the really exciting thing.
Yes, Mr. Chair, you did speak to this during board comment, but there was a question, I think a request by I believe Rachel regarding just the cost savings of using transit. And so we were able to pull together some information that you can see on the screen that utilizing the methodology for this, it's described in there, is that we're utilizing IRS mileage rates that factors in the cost of fuel and maintenance and of your vehicle insurance. So we felt that that was a decent methodology to use in terms of calculating costs of travel. So in the chart, you can see someone that's traveling the way this is laid out is if you're in Rifle, we provide destinations of Aspen, Basalt, Carbondale, Glenwood Springs, and you can see that from the origin community across the bottom of the chart there, and the expense of driving a vehicle to those destinations on an annual basis. So it was noted that if you live in Rifle and you're driving to Aspen on a daily basis annually, if you were to avoid driving and riding transit, you could save upwards of $20,000. You can see that from the various origin locations and destinations in that chart. So hopefully that's helpful and something that met the intent of the request.
I really appreciate that. And one small question. Are we netting out the RFTA fare they'd be paying for the annual?
Yes.
Good. Just, I like to answer questions when people ask me. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
One clarification on the fares piece is that this is rack rate fares that are incorporated in here. So if someone is purchasing a discounted pass, then those savings would be even greater.
Even more. Thank you.
That's
Good
to know.
clarification.
And so then I want to hear from you guys or Jamie, how she's going to broadcast this to the world. Let's make a big deal about this. This is important stuff, especially as people are concerned about their finances.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Oh, well, she was almost going to come down and tell us.
She's on it.
When you have a chance, Jamie, when next meeting, right?
At the very least, I could see placards in the RFTA bus with that information.
Right. Excellent idea. Yeah. One of those notifications. There's no, what better way to have a captive audience and let them know how much money they're saving.
Or wasting.
Or wasting, yeah, or wasting if they're not driving it, yeah. Maybe on the side of the bus, on the back of the bus. Okay, where are we?
So
Yeah, go ahead, Kurt.
the remaining items here, I think we've already touched on. Happy to take any questions if there's any from the board. We also have our monthly performance metrics in here. Just as note, year to date, our ridership's up 2.7%. So if there's any questions on that, happy to take that. Otherwise, I believe that conclude. Oh, we got one more.
I have a question just regarding the charts. I love the ridership numbers. It's fun to see how things are moving and how large some of these routes are and how significant the skier shuttles, the Maroon Bells. I tend to focus on those a lot, or we look at our individual communities. Is there any way we could publish data on fuel use, fuel cost and fuel use? Fuel costs are coming down right now, so we're here. But we know it's volatile, it goes up and it goes down, but just on, how many gallons, every morning I see the massive tanker trucks driving up the valley to our airport to refuel our Jet A fuel. It's at least one a day, I think. And it's good to have an understanding of how much fuel we're burning. Is that something we could do or prepared to do?
Yes. Yes, we can do that.
Thank you. Colin.
Just wanted to highlight the corridor tour on November 3rd. And one of the things that I found really useful when I was on it with staff is, and I'm wondering if we can add to our data, is the number of users throughout the corridor. My understanding in talking to staff is this Carbondale section in town has as much users as the Aspen section. And that's kind of surprising. But I think it's really, we were just focusing how important the trail is, but, and it is important, but it's also incredibly well used, especially in the summer months. But it's also surprisingly well used in the winter months. And it'd be great to just see how that changes, just as we see with the ridership numbers on the, so if there's a chance to add that to your report, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay. We can, we do have some counters in place that we can pull that information.
Steve?
Thank you. I forgot to ask during comments, and Colin just reminded me by talking about a tour. Is there indeed still a state transportation commission visit coming up next week?
Thank you for that reminder. I'm not sure if we had an update in, I skipped over all that. I apologize. Yes, we do have a visit by our State Transportation Commission on the Wednesday, the 15th. They will be arriving at, maybe I'll let David, he knows the details a little more than me.
So they'll be coming in at 3:30. We're supposed to meet them at the Hotel Colorado. We're expecting that it could be upwards of 25 or 30 people. Certainly open. I know Erin Zielinski said that she would be interested in attending. But if any of you are interested, it's open as well. So we'll have a bus down there meeting them at 3:30. They will be coming in on Amtrak. So knowing that has some fluctuation in arrival times, we're going to be tracking that to see. But that's going to be really leading the actual departure time. But we're scheduled for 3:30 to 5.
Great, thank you. I'm be glad to attend too, if that's acceptable.
Okay.
In kind of two contexts, just because I'd like to observe. But also I appreciated comments at the last meeting suggested that maybe the guests be hauled over in an electric bus. And then there was a chiming in to say, how about some bicycles? We don't have WeCycle, but if WeCycle wants to haul a trailer load of bikes up and some of the CDOT people want to ride them, I'd be glad to lead that trip to get over to the facility. So.
Let's just leave some bicycles leaning against a post there when they arrive, with a note.
So certainly appreciate that. We've got, with this large of a group, and we've only got an hour and a half with them, we are looking at using an electric bus. So we're looking at using an electric bus down at Hotel Colorado, swinging by IMP. It's going to be here it is out the window of the bus because we don't have that much time to get out. And then swinging back through the GMF, showing some of the improvements that happened there over the last couple of years, and then up to the operations center. So we'll pull into the storage area for the buses. We'll show our charging equipment and then go upstairs, similar to the tour that the board did. I think it was about 6 months ago.
Right.
Nice. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Rachel.
Yeah, just a couple of small things. If you are coming down to meet this, where should we meet? At the Hotel Colorado or at the RFTA facility?
Given the number of people, it might be best to meet at well, I guess.
Yeah, because
You know.
I'd like to be there. I don't know if you're going to need 2 buses to bring the
Right,
whole
and
crew.
that's part of the issue. I think that we should have enough for you guys, because I
Okay,
think it
but
would be
where
good
would
for you
we,
to
where
be
should we meet?
at the Hotel Colorado.
At the Hotel Colorado
Thank you.
by 3:30.
Hotel Colorado. I was mistaken last time with the Maxwell.
Okay, so Hotel Colorado. And then I don't know how many of your RFTA board members are going to show up, but you might want to publicly notice this in case we do have a quorum. I'm planning on attending. And it's a great opportunity to meet the Transportation Commission members. And even if it's RFTA focused, you'll know them in the future for your own road projects and things like that. And finally, a lot of the legislators, they meet in Denver, even if they don't live in Denver. So they are familiar with WeCycle and electrical bikes because they have those down in the Denver area. We don't need to point that out. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Steve as well. Thank you for that.
I think that concludes the CEO report.
Sorry, there was one last.
There's more.
What?
Sorry.
The COO report. One last piece on the tour, not the Transportation Commission tour, but the one on November 3rd.
Yeah.
We're discussing changing the meeting point from 1517 Blake over to 505. So we've got 505 is across the street from 27th Street BRT station. So when you go under the underpass from the BRT station, we've got a facility right there across from the school district. There's plenty of parking there. The primary benefit is for those coming down from up valley. If you want to take the bus from Brush Creek, the connections are far easier to get to 27th Street than if you're trying to connect down to City Market.
Yeah, and Nicole was going to send us which bus we need to catch to be able to be there on time from Ruby Park, or from actually Brush Creek Intersection. That's where we're.
This starts at 9 a.m. Is that when it's
9 a.m. So in the packet, it says that we'd be meeting at Blake. We're looking at shifting that over to what we've referred to as 505, but that's the address directly across from the BRT station at 27th Street. So you go under the underpass.
The address is 505 27th Street.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, and we'll
7.
hear which bus we should catch to make it on time. Thank you. Looking forward to it very much.
Looking forward to using my transit app for that too. I'll figure it out.
I did have a question back on the ridership reports.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of broad. I don't know if we track that along with business activity as well at some level or not. But I was wondering if you might have any indication it's you feel seeing the hogback go down by 10% in September. Is it because businesses are closing, they don't need as many people? Is it, are we seeing economic impacts of a slowdown? We all know there's been a drop in tourism by certain countries and people visiting. I just wondering how we're going to maybe track this economic data going forward. We all know the worries of a bad snow year. We don't know the impacts of tariffs and insulting our international visitors. So it was just a kind of a thought. Maybe there's no way to draw any conclusions from September, but I think we should try to keep an eye on that.
Great. Thanks, Rachel.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, if that's it, question, Melissa?
Are you going to give an update on free fare?
You have enough to talk about yet?
Not yet.
I did ask David to be prepared to share a little bit of insight regarding the fare-free period. We don't really have any data at this point to share, but just anecdotally, we can share how that's been going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it did roll out on October 1st. I can say that anecdotally, from my experience just being on the buses every day, we do appear to have an increase in ridership, but we don't have any data yet. I am hearing from operations that there is an increase in backup buses. So that's, we're tracking cameras at stops and the capacity on the buses, the load, to determine where we need to add backup buses. And we're seeing over the first week, we've seen an increase in the backup buses from primarily going up Valley during peak times. But so far, it seems to be rolling out pretty well. Fingers crossed it continues that way. So yeah, mostly it's not a whole lot of news right now, which is actually kind of good news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing from the I know the safety perspective and the concern about the people riding the buses and not getting off, and just curious if they've seen any of that.
I have not heard of any notable increase in incidents.
Great.
Thing I have heard from some people is picking up the bus at the Brush Creek Intercept lot becomes standing room only. And it's been like, well, it's not as bad as it used to be, because it used to be standing for 25 miles, not this much. But I do, let's keep an eye on, this is the guest experience of the people we hope to attract in the future. And standing room only is never that good an experience. Thank you.
Right. Thanks for that. Nor for the commuters. Right. Thank you.
I can also say anecdotally that in the office that I work in, we have the Glenwood Springs customer service touch point. And I overheard a conversation from our customer service specialist taking a call, and the individual was asking, is it really free? And her letting them know, yes, this is a free 2-month period. And the individual was just very appreciative and grateful for that. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thanks
for making that happen. Okay, I think that's the end of the CEO report, unless we've got executive session next. We were pursuant to CRS sections 246, 402E and L, determining the matters that may be subject to negotiation. And Paul will lead that. Kurt will remain in the room. Then up next after that is personnel matters pursuant to CRS 246, 402F and L. And Aaron will be on deck for that with Paul. I'd need a motion to go into exec session.
So
And
moved.
I've got that from Colin, a second from
Second.
Rachel. Any other discussion on that? I don't think so. Did I leave anything out? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're going to clear the room and clear the online.
So
Great.
we need a motion to reconvene the regular meeting?
I would make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Move to come out of executive session.
Second from
Second.
Rachel. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Back in the public
Okay, and here we are back in the room. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Alyssa.
You can let
You're
those
welcome.
guys know they can
Thanks,
come in if they'd like to.
Do I need to throw out the exact amount? If somebody's
I
gonna,
just say 4%.
okay.
Yay.
It's beyond it was a busy day.
Yeah.
Go over very often,
Not often.
so it's
good.
okay.
I think it goes to 11:30 anyway. I have to remind myself.
Because it used to.
It used to, yeah. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we've just had a performance annual evaluation of our CEO. And I just summarize it.
We'd like to keep him.
We decided to keep Kurt. That was pretty easy. That was a given. And Kurt's, I'll just share publicly that Kurt's leadership has strengthens RAFTA's operational excellence, team cohesion, and strategic direction, in the words of Alyssa, who crafted this. And your forward-thinking approach, coupled with consistent execution and transparent communication, has positioned RAFTA for continued success. You've been impressive and effective, and we're so lucky to have you. Also, we all acknowledge that taking over an organization such as this after a 35-year career of the previous director and doing it so smoothly it has really been impressive. And we're all grateful. I know a lot of people worked hard to make this happen, and you in particular, and we're all very satisfied. Along with that, we want to give you the 4% performance salary increase. And I think that the board agrees that it certainly is, you're worthy of it, and we're grateful to continue this relationship with our CEO. And so I'm going to throw it to.
So the motion would be to approve 4% in compensation, to direct me to prepare a letter agreement and authorize you as the chairman of the board to execute it on behalf of the organization.
Thank you. What Paul said. I'd be looking for a motion to do that.
Can
Oh, well, I
did
can
you make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Great.
Further comment, public comment from anyone? Rachel?
Simply to thank the RFTA organization from before my time on the board for doing such an excellent job, and appreciate